All right, Saagar, what's on your radar?
Well, one of the interesting things about this show is I get to spend a lot of time observing and talking to the progressive left from a right-wing perspective. And one of the things that really baffles me is that they don't really seem like they want to win or actually fight internal battles that have to be fought if you want to attain political power. This was on full display yesterday when I saw more than a dozen progressive groups urge Senator Sanders and Warren to put their differences aside and focus on beating Biden. Now, the groups included a coalition of organizations. They've endorsed both Sanders and Warren. They've declared that when progressives fight each other, the establishment wins. And there's some truth to that. But the deeper truth is that Elizabeth Warren, in a sign of total desperation, publicly smeared her supposed friend and then accused him of lying. And Bernie mostly took it standing up. Now, I'm mystified by people who think that when somebody says something that is not true about you, that you don't just turn around and call them a straight-up liar to their face. That's what Donald Trump did, and it actually works pretty well. Take a listen.
You are all talk and no action. What I've seen up here, I mean, first of all, this guy's a joke artist and this guy's a liar. You have a combination. This guy always goes. You have a combination of factors. He can't do it for the obvious reason, and he can't do it because he doesn't know how to tell the truth.
I just had to relive that one for good measure. But even outside of Trump, Democratic politics was not always so full of lightweight babies. I mean, look at this ad that Barack Obama ran against Hillary Clinton in 2008.
It's what's wrong with politics today. Hillary Clinton will say anything to get elected. Now she's making false attacks on Barack Obama. The Washington Post says Clinton isn't telling the truth. She championed NAFTA, even though it has cost South Carolina thousands of jobs. And worst of all, it was Hillary Clinton who voted for George Bush's war in Iraq. Hillary Clinton, she'll say anything and change nothing.
Bernie Sanders is not even capable of saying that about Joe Biden, who he supposedly totally disagrees with, let alone the woman who called him a sexist liar on national TV. It's the same thing in the news media. While Sanders can get a little prickly with national political reporters, he sat there and said nothing whenever CNN blatantly took Warren's side in their exchange. On the right, here's the moment that changed everything, and it set the script for how to handle these things going forward.
As you know, your ex-wife gave an interview to ABC News and another interview at the Washington Post, and this story has now gone viral on the internet. In it, she says that you came to her in 1999, at a time when you were having an affair. She says you asked her, sir, to enter into an open marriage. Would you like to take some time to respond to that?
No, but I will. I think the destructive, vicious, negative nature of much of the news media makes it harder to govern this country, harder to attract decent people to run for public office, and I am appalled that you would begin a presidential debate on a topic like that.
That moment, more than anything, underscored that the media would never give anyone on the right a fair shake. It's what set the stage for Marco Rubio's biggest moment in 2016 when he called out the media. More important, it laid all the groundwork for Donald Trump's now famous moniker, fake news. In other words, those of us on the right learned that when the entire ecosystem is aligned against you and it wants you to fail, that you have to fight back with everything that you have if you actually want to win. Progressives claim to fight, but they are tepid babies when it comes to any actual conflict, and they don't really understand how you attain political power in the United States. And I gotta say, Crystal, I mean,
disagree.
Can't believe Bernie just, how do you sit there as a man and somebody calls you a sexist and then a liar and then CNN takes your side and you were a front runner in the Democratic race and you just sit there and take it? I mean, is that how you're gonna run for the rest of your campaign when the media is totally, by the way, if you think this is bad, imagine what they're gonna throw at you in the run-up if we actually start to win, or in the race against Trump. It's like, what are you doing?
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, if he had handled it from the jump, the way that Newt did, and basically because this is the way people actually feel, like, why are we wasting our time on this dumb stuff that happened over a year ago? Like, why does anyone even care? The reality is they don't. And so I think you're right. At the moment he got that question, he should have gone hard, not on Elizabeth Warren so much as on the media, because it is tricky when you're a man and the charge is sexism and it's a woman and all of those things are very
on the left
fraught.
It's tricky.
On the left, it's very fraught, and I get that, and there is a reality there to be acknowledged. But he could have gone all scorched earth against the media, and that would have been for sure the right play in that moment. I mean, think about Newt Gingrich. Like, those allegations against him, that was real.
Yeah.
That was real.
Didn't matter.
And
right.
on the right, there's this whole like moral family values piece. So it is actually relevant and a reasonable question to ask. But when he answered it like that, it just took that issue completely
Did you see the crowd?
off
Imagine
the
if
table.
Bernie had done that. And that's what I mean. I don't think that they actually want to win. And because path dependency always favors Joe Biden and the establishment. It's like, you know how you get political power in this country? You destroy your opponent. Look at, again, Obama. This is the hopey-changey guy was out there being like, Hillary Clinton will say anything to get elected. Come on.
I have a theory about why things have evolved into this more like, we all have to be nice to each other. On the one, first of all, there's this constant refrain, which is ridiculous, that, you know, the reason we got Trump is because Bernie was too divisive last time around, right? Like, you hear that over and over again.
Right.
And there is this real terror that I don't want to just completely dismiss, even though I don't think that this is the right way to think about things, that if we tear each other apart in the primary, then that only helps Trump. Well, no. What really helps Trump is if you don't test these people in the primary and make sure that you end up with the right one. That's what really helps Trump. But here's my theory. Here's the theory. Over the years, the Democratic Party has centered more and more around this white, affluent, liberal base, which is the Warren base, which is the Pete base, which was at one point the Kamala base. It's that people were excited about Beto, et cetera, et cetera. And this is their politics. This civility, like phony surface level civility, we all have to be nice to each other, plus the like shallow identity piece.
Right.
That is their politics. And so you hear it much more. It's a very present view online. It's constantly articulated online. And so that's why I think there is more hesitation among these candidates than you've ever seen before to actually just prosecute a case. Think about how much blowback I got just for literally laying out policy differences between Sanders and Warren and coalition differences and theories of change. Like, just laying out the facts. This was supposedly totally over the line and unacceptable. Of course, it's all well and good until she goes out and knifes him and calls him a sexist.
And serves no. And this is what I mean. Look, if you actually want to do it, then you got to fight. I mean, Bernie can't even say what Obama said about Hillary Clinton in 2008. That's mystifying to me.
He should grab that line. Is so good.
Just say it. Just replace Clinton with Biden. Easy. I mean, but his campaign, so much of the progressive left, they're running so scared. And you know, at this point, it's like, if you actually want to win and not, you know, have a nice little retirement home in Vermont, then this is what you got to do.
Well, and here's the other thing.
I don't see it.
Bernie's politics and his theory is that the expanding the base and energizing the base and getting new people in, that's the way to win. Well, let me tell you something. The Bernie base is not feeling unity right now. And that's the last thing they're feeling. They're incredibly energized and outraged over this, and rightfully so. I mean, we saw the fundraising numbers that we reported here. What do you get? 100,000 donations, including 25,000 from new.
200,000 donations.
200,000. 25,000 from new donors who were like, forget it, I'm in. So the base is incredibly energized. You can't just then go and say, oh, you burned my house down, but we're all good now. It's fine. There you go. Next on Rising, the Hill's editor-in-chief, Bob Cusack, is going to join us with the debrief. Stick with us.